Hello everybody, it's vanburman here. Welcome back to another video, and today I want to just talk about the Alder Lake CPUs, which are coming out tomorrow, today, I don't know, whenever this goes up. Obviously, I don't have any hardware to share or to show, unfortunately, as interesting as that would be. I was, however, doing some different work, and I noticed that the Alder Lake CPUs are now up on UserBenchmark. Of course, full disclosures. Take UserBenchmark with all the grains of salt that you like. It's a tool that I find useful. However, some people don't, and I do appreciate and understand that. But in this regard, we can get some indicative performance numbers, and I thought that might be quite interesting to share. And I can share you some results that I've had this evening, I guess, and we can talk about what that means or what it doesn't mean. I think it's probably what it doesn't mean that's more interesting than anything. So, okay, let's just get into it. I've got it up on here. So I've just sorted CPUs by benchmark. By the way, I'm also obviously assuming that you know that what the 12th gen Intel cores are, or the new technology. So it's Intel's 14 nanometer. 40. It is 14, but they're calling it. Is it 12? I don't know. Actually, I'm confused now. But they're calling it 10 nanometer anyway. Whatever it was before, and effectively they've gone for this hybrid chip design, which is performance cores and efficient cores, I believe. So in the top model, the 2900K, we've got 8 performance cores and 8 threads and 8 efficiency cores with no threads, I believe. I hope that was all correct. And what that does is I think you can only get it with Windows 11. I could be wrong on that, but that's I think what I've heard. And that has a task manager, I guess, like task manager, that allocates the workflow. There's some interesting stuff on here actually, just to note. I mean, look, UserBenchmark favors Intel anyway, which is one thing, because as you can see here, all of the 1100 11 series stuff is actually beating the 10 series stuff. But also, let's face it, the 5900 or 5950X, it is going to be a 11600, 11600 KF, 11900, basically all of them. So if you want the sort of realistic scores, I guess you sort of slot in the top Ryzen products around here. But nevertheless, we're still looking at a massive increase. Obviously, judging it by Intel's scores is actually quite interesting. So the 12600K actually looks particularly good. I'm not sure how much that's retailing for, or going to retail for. I might just have a quick check of that, because that one to me looks particularly interesting. This might be a long and protracted video, by the way, so I do apologise a little bit for that. So we're looking at 289, so £300 roughly. You can get some cashback. That's right, cashback on the motherboards and stuff, which is good, I suppose. Okay, so that's 10 cores, 16 threads. So probably not. I don't know whether it would be like the 5900X, like I've got in multi-core. That would be interesting to see if that's the case when it comes out. So 10 cores, 6 performance cores, and 4 efficiency cores, or efficient cores, sorry. Yes, okay, yeah, that's the 10 cores. Any threads? Doesn't say anything about threads. Okay, so it's just a 10 core. Oof, I don't like that, personally. I think, for me, the performance core should have the hyper threading, or whatever it is that they're calling it. So anyway, I've procrastinated enough. We'll have a look at the scores. So there's actually been a couple of benchmarks already. We've not got a huge sample size though. What have we got? We've got like a 119 up to a 150, 125. Although obviously we don't know if any of these are exotically called, although we should be able to see. Oh, there's just the one. I might make this a bit smaller, so I don't want to make it too small, or else I won't be able to see what's going on. So this is the PC that was used. Oh, that was the 119. So maybe someone managed to get it early with an RX 460. What a champion! And lots of USB. Oh, just take, if you're going to do benchmarks, just take them out. And some DDR5 memory to 216 gig sticks. 171. Oh, impressive. I mean, CPU throttled at 91% by Windows. Oh, because it didn't have the power turned up. Okay, well, yeah. So that says to me that it's, and looking at the other spec as well, it's probably not any sort of exotic cooling. So that does make things a bit interesting. So maybe we should do a, we'll have a look at it against the 12600, because I think that's probably like the most interesting one for me. Now make it smaller. Make this smaller again. So it's a huge price. Like it's half the price. Okay, so 10 cores. So from what I gather, then performance cores always have hyper threading. Efficiency cores don't. So 10 core, 16 threads. That's much better, I must say. I think this has only got one benchmark so far. So once again, massive grain of salt. Although really interesting, I must say. It had better memory timings. There's a good difference though in the single core speed. This one must be clocked higher then. I don't think that's going to be a secret. Yes. Oh well, actually, UserBenchmark doesn't tell you. I've not seen this on any other sites and things for benchmarks and stuff early. So, or not ones that I would sort of want to bring to you to show you. They're both 125 watts. That's interesting. I'm surprised the 600 version is not. Is not less in terms of power draw, which says something I think to me about the efficiency. I think, but anyway, so turbo clock's up to 4.9 for the 600, even though it does run base higher. But once again, I suppose that really matters as long as you can keep it cool. But that's interesting to me. Anyway, would you bother going for a 12700 over a 12600? Because what do you get? You get an extra 2 performance cores by the looks of it. I don't really know if you would. To be fair, although that price is not correct, is it? Because if the 12600K was just over 220 pounds, that would be an absolute steal. Single core performance looks the same. So once again, only one benchmark. So I don't want to draw too many conclusions out of it. But it seems interesting. So they reckon that the 12700K has got 59x like multi-core performance, which would be quite interesting because it's got 2 cores less, 4 threads less, and also utilizing efficiency cores. So we'll have a look at 5900X. I've also got another score on my other monitor, which I will use as reference, even though it's not going to impact, but just in terms of if you wanted some like sort of more real world, or like, you know, my actual score compared to maybe something that we're being shown here. So obviously slower memory on the 5900X, which is nothing that we can do about that, and obviously a lot more benchmarks, a huge amount of benchmarks. So the best of 108, which is probably not even going to fall in the variance of the 12700K. Single core score. The thing is, like across the board, I know there's like 7 user benchmarks at the minute, but the fact that the single core score is regularly 203, 205, and then 220 something. It's incredible. It really is. It's a shame that the applications for this are not. I think that's probably the big takeaway for me, is that it'd be okay if you actually had GPUs that could utilize this amount of performance. Although I imagine I think the power and heat is going to be a particular issue for the 12th gen, but we'll see. Like I say, no reviews as of yet, no official media on it. I know no more than you guys do, so there you go. And what we're looking at, so the core speeds, yeah, it just gets higher. It's really interesting. Really, really interesting. I'm looking forward actually to seeing how this would do. Yeah, I guess the value is better, but the problem is the 2700K, I imagine, is probably very similar to 5900X prices. Let me have a quick look. Yeah, so 12700K is going for 410 is the cheapest I can find it for. Oh no, I'll tell a lie. 380 for a pre-order. They're getting it tomorrow apparently. Okay, that's interesting. And then you obviously got to decide if you're going to go DDR4, DDR5. But I mean, I don't want to talk too soon, and I've said this a couple of times now, but wait for reviews if you are genuinely interested about building a new computer. If you can get a graphics card or not, I think that might be the big takeaway. But I think if you had to build, you put a gun to my head and I took away all my computers and said you had to build one now, I would go out and buy Intel. I think, looking at this, don't necessarily really like the idea of Windows 11, which is one issue, I suppose, and I'm not yet completely sold on like big little chiplets on a CPU. So, like I say, I'd have to probably have some hands on with that before I would feel comfortable about it. I think I don't like the idea of like gimping my cores. I mean, obviously, I know they're quite quick, as we can see. Also, I should do this, shouldn't I? We can see they're quite quick, so maybe I've got the wrong end of the stick there, but it's interesting to see. So I guess the last one is going to be the 12900K versus the 5950X, and I guess I'll also have a look at it versus the the 11th gen for this, although I would pick the 10th gen if I had to choose. So the 12900K, I did have a quick look at that. I think that one's going for about 500. Oh no, so the price at the minute in the UK, the ones that are available, are £570. So yes, roughly around, or actually I have seen 5950Xs for under 650. So yeah, roughly the same price. I guess we're probably looking at multi-core score. You see, this way UserBenchmark isn't quite right, because if we brought up the 11700K, it'd probably say that the 11700K's got better multi-core score. I would have thought. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't. It says they're equal, even though one's 8 cores, 16 threads, and the IPC in the 5950X is actually superior. So anyway, I won't worry about that one too much, but we'll have a look at the 12th gen versus the 11th gen. You can obviously go and do this yourself unless you're really enjoying listening to me, but 20% increase IPC, I guess. I mean, we sort of lauded that. I sort of did, from the 3000 series to the 5000 series for AMD. So yeah, I guess we have to do the same now. Look, if every 2 years you get a 20% increase, I am more than happy with that. I think that's a good spot to be in. Can we do GPUs every year at 20%, please? That would be good as well. But anyway, so there's not too much to say. I mean, I guess it's as I expected. It's as I expected versus the 11th gen, I must say. But I'm not so sure that this will translate. A 12900K will translate into such a trouncing that it's given AMD in UserBenchmark. I think UserBenchmark is obviously very generous to Intel, and I think once you start looking specifically at gaming performance, it's going to be the turn of the GPU to bound your system, unfortunately. So I think that's probably where the discussion starts and ends. I did say that I would compare it to the scores I just got, so I'll have a look at that. So in the test bench at the minute, I've got a 5700G Ryzen 7. That is 8 cores, 8 cores, 16 threads. Base clock 3.8, turbo of 4.5. That's what this is telling me anyway. I don't know if that's correct. Or just say that it is for now, but I should double check that. So single core, we're getting, I just got a 159, which is significantly less than the 5900X. 2 cores, 316, 316. Quad core is 614. And an 8-core score of 1175. You know what? Actually, that's not bad compared to the 11900K. I'm actually quite impressed with that. So I got 105% on the UserBenchmark run for that particular one. And there's not really too much else to say other than that. I think that's the takeaway. I can very quickly have a look at my 5900X scores. I'm conscious I don't particularly want this video to drag on much longer, much past 20 minutes, but most of you will have left by now, which is probably for the best. Okay, I got a 5900X and a 5800X score, which might be interesting, might not be interesting. I don't know. I find it interesting, but hey, that's me. So, 50 something X, 5900X, 107%. That's what I mean. It's giving me 2% extra for a 5900X over a 5700G. 166 single core. Even though we know single cores, at least. Actually, I think we know it's better. So, 2 core 330. So not that much of a jump. The quad core score 367. The 8 core score 1240. So, a little bit less of a trouncing than the UserBenchmark numbers, but still, not great. And then I got a 5800X, but I don't think there's much difference in that. 167. They use the same cores anyway, don't they? So, it's just going to be a slower 8-core speed. Anyway, I'd like UserBenchmark to maybe update some of their testing, but you've got to have it be backwards compatible, haven't you? So I understand we're in this sphere where we're probably at a time where we're very Intel dominated, but I genuinely am looking forward to specifically Gamers Nexus's video on it, because I'd like to see, I don't know, it depends whether I've had enough time or not, I guess, but I would like to see some good in-depth against Ryzen for everything. I want to see if the scores that we're seeing here do hold up, because that would be incredible. I'm thinking for obviously CPU bound tasks. I do genuinely think that we won't see much of a difference in gaming. I don't think it's particularly helpful or handy to. I think like the 5000 AMD series, the 10 series, 11 series, now the 12 series from Intel. Even the 3000 series, actually, because I've had a 3600 and tested that with loads of stuff, and even the 3600 is particularly good. So I think sort of anything above that, we need new GPUs, in my opinion, or faster GPUs. So that's where I would say, and I have tried it with a 3090, by the way, the 3600, which I meant to do a video on, but never did. So let me know what you think down below. I'm sort of. It probably is enough for me to switch if I could get over having to switch to Windows 11, which I just can't at the minute. I'm testing it out, trying it out on the test bench, and I'm a bit like, it's okay, but can't move the taskbar. Like extra clicks to get to menu items that I use all the time. Stuff like that just really puts me off. So I think it's a difficult sell. I think frequencies are going to be interesting as well. Apparently, there's headroom to overclock on the 12 series, which would be interesting. There's not much on in Ryzen, barring undervolting, of course, through PBO. It's the best way I found to do it, and that gets you some gains or sometimes no gains, but a big drop in temperature. Specifically, really good for the 5800X. But anyway, I'm going off piece now. But yeah, let me know what you think. If you made it this far, I'd be interested to hear, because yeah, I think, especially if we can have AMD leapfrog this, leapfrog Intel, that would be insane, really. We would definitely be in probably one of the biggest periods of CPU growth since probably, well, the continuing CPU growth. I'm talking about like 5000 series being the absolute catalyst. But I feel like before then, I don't know, stuff has moved slowly since I had a 8320 FX bulldozer. Don't know what in hindsight, that was a terrible decision, but it was cheap. And now we all know why. Anyway, right, yeah, I'll leave it there. But no, thanks for watching, and let me know what you think. Bye for now.